Continue. Thank you.
All right. I'm actually just going to switch and do, let's see if I can make it. Give me 1 second, yeah. Okay, so the treasurer training. Basically, we're just gonna go through, what you're gonna wanna do is when you submit a purchase request. Anything you wanna request or any use of funds is gonna go through the finance feature on Engage, which I'll walk through that afterwards. So difference maker staff will evaluate what your request is. They'll make sure it's in the realm of what you can order, where you can order from. And then what will happen is the request will get moved to financial admin, which is Caitlin or myself. The team will receive communication. So meaning if I'm able to make that purchase for you, I'll go ahead and make it and move it to process. If you are going to be coming in to use the card or you're going to be taking the bank card out of the office, you'll be able to, I'll send you an email with the information to set up an appointment to come and do so. Requests should be made 2 to 4 weeks in advance. Shipping can be crazy, things getting in on time. We don't want to have to rush anything or, you know, something sitting with Dave and it doesn't get to us, you know, and things happen. So just the sooner you can put things in, the better it is for everyone. So Engage is going to show you what your starting balance will be, what you have spent, what will be available. Anything sitting in encumbered is what's pending. So any requests you put in that aren't complete yet will sit as encumbered. So that money can't be touched because it's pending. Once your purchase request is complete and we've made the payment, that encumbered fund will disappear and you'll be able to see a true available balance. Purchase methods, we have what's called byways, which is our pre-negotiated system with certain vendors. So if you're looking to order things through WB Mason, Granger, McMaster, Apple, B&H Photo and Video, or maybe some other ones you might add. What we do is submit a purchase order to them. Sometimes we can get a discount for you. Other times we can, we're able to show you like how quick they can go with that. So sometimes those can be a little quicker. WB Mason, like we said, can go next day to the office. If you're doing something like Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and there are a few others I can name that we already have accounts set up with them. So tax exemption is already included and we don't have to worry about it. We have an account set up. So basically anything from those sites, we won't have to worry about sales tax being charged to us. And then we can just go right ahead and place the order. If you were looking for something, a new vendor, we'd have to go through a process of trying to get the sales tax exempt, which can kind of be a little bit, it depends on the company. Some of them aren't so great about it and others, it takes a while to hear back. So it's just easier if we can use pre-approved vendors or something that we are already set up with. It makes it a lot quicker for everything. So with byways, if you're looking to use a vendor that would have a purchase order, we would pay them through byways, which is basically either through Zelle or cutting a check to send to them. The only thing we ask is for an email address so that we can invite a new vendor, and we will need a little bit more time. So what happens is you can email all that information to SA Business. We'll request and invite them into byways. They'll be set up as a new vendor, and then we can place the order with a purchase order. So let's see. Bank cards. If you were to come in and use the bank card in the office, what I'll do is send you an email. You'll have a Teams link. So you can set up a time to come use that card. And then what will happen is you'll have a link through Teams so that you can upload the receipt. It'll give you all the instructions for setting up everything you need to do. So you place the order, you're gonna save the receipt, you're gonna log that transaction, and then that way we can go through and make the payment on our end and engage and process it. The front desk will inform you when your order is in, and then you can come and pick up the packages. If you're taking the card out of the office, you'll get a similar email. You can come in, you can pick up the card. We ask that you bring your student ID and you know your purchase request number. Those are two important things that we keep on our log so we can keep track of everything. A team member returns a bank card to the office within 1 business day. Obviously, if it's the weekend, Monday is fine. That's also good, say. But if for some reason you need the card an extra day, if you couldn't get to that place, or you you couldn't get there in time, if something happens, just please communicate with us. We're okay if we can make an exception for a day, just as long as we know that the card is coming back. And then you would follow the same process. You would upload your receipt. It'll tell you how to save that receipt, and then how to look for it with the purchase request and everything. And a link will be shared in that email, so you'll have that information. Allowable purchases would be goods and services, lawyers, law firms, difference maker staff will acquire additional approval for this. Travel, plan on 68 weeks in advance for travel. Between trying to book anything you need to do, you need to have pre-approval for that. Meals are not covered with that. And some other allowable purchases would be services and equipment. Purchases must be included on the purchase plan, on the project plan, and has to be approved by the difference maker staff before they're going to be coming to us and engage. And reimbursements are not allowed.
Alexia, if I just interject
Yeah.
for a minute. So
Yeah.
the reason we talk about travel is if you want to go to a trade show, or you're going to see customers, or anything like that.
Conferences, yeah.
That's why travel would be relevant. So
Yes.
so thank you, Alexia.
Sure. Team responsibilities. You're required to provide accurate information for your receipts. So this is what I'm talking about, is if you're going to upload a receipt, we're going to ask for the vendor name, your purchase request number, your team name, the purchase date, and the transaction total. They cannot have sales tax on them. It's said in every email, the tax exempt number is on the front of the card. Anything you can do to show proof that you do not have sales tax included is huge for us, but it's just a pain, like I said, to have to go back and try and get reimbursements. Teams are responsible for picking up their orders in a timely manner, resolving issues with vendors, if you have to return something for some reason, if there's any discrepancies in the transaction, or if there's any damages. We are located here at University Crossing in Suite 220. You'll get all that information when it's time for you to come and pick up the package. Again, reimbursements are not allowed. Navigating through Engage with the finance. We can show you that. So all these teams have already been added. You'll see what you're going to want to do is search. So if I pick up here and then put in a team name, you can do. So they'll all be under Idea Challenge 2024. And you're starting off with $500, right, Dave? That's what we're.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything's been loaded for $500 to start. What you want to do when you go into your team, you can go to finance. And you're going to want to create a purchase request. And then you're just gonna wanna follow everything on here prompted. So, you can put in a description about what you're buying. You can put in your amount here, categories, your account. And it's gonna reiterate the same thing. You wanna allow about 2 weeks for purchase processing from when it's gonna get to difference maker to when I'm gonna see it and when I can place it. So, and then you just wanna go down the line here and just answer anything you can. And try to be as specific as possible, please. If you don't have to come back to you and ask questions, it just kind of will save us some time. So anything you can upload onto this template, your purchase request links in the description, if you can be as detailed as possible. And then, like I said, you know, if there's something that we can't get for you, I like to reach out via email, and Dave, I'll include you as well, and just see if there's something else that we can get, or if you can have a substitute, you know, just something in mind. And then what you would do is submit this, and it will go to difference maker, and then make its changes.
So Alexia, in the current Engage platform, there's actually a project plan that they upload.
Okay, yep.
I'm not necessarily, and is that something that because it looks like it's something that you've added to the system that I'm not seeing here? So I'm curious. Like, so when I don't know if it's on this one here. So this says difference maker team should upload budgeting project plan with current purchases. I know, like in the past, some of the other difference maker teams have had just the multiple link submission. Let me see. Let's see what this is. Well, it looks like it'll bring you here to this. So usually what we see is this. Okay.
So like this is usually what I see if I'm ordering stuff online.
All right, because I usually see their project plan, and
Okay.
and I'll show everybody. I'll give you a brief overview when Alexia is finished on the project,
Okay.
which is in that additional files directory as well.
Sure.
Which you're not aware of, Alexia, but they all have access to this location.
All right. So that would be going in and taking care of that. And again, if you have questions about Engage, or you don't see a teammate on there, or what you can do to help, like, please reach out. We'll do what we can for everyone. But I think going based off of what Holly had sent to us earlier about who the winners were, we were able to grab everyone's email address and add them into it. So just a summary of everything. You want to submit your purchase request as soon as possible. Returning the card and the receipts the proper way will result in a 30-day suspension of your bank card privileges. And communication and notification are important for everything. So this helps getting everything in and on time, and you know, you guys able to use your funds. So, and that's really about it.
So
anyone have any questions?
If anyone has questions, ask. I'm actually going to pull up the fund guide. I think this is mostly covered in the fund guide, but I'm just gonna get that open.
Sure.
And so that they know.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
So I guess my first question is, can these accounts be used for, like if we're gaining income for the business, you know, at the start for the year, you know, if I submit it into a fundraise, like have a fundraiser, submit it into a grant or something, can those funds be stored in that Engage account? And if so, how do we actually get the money transferred into that Engage account?
I would have to find out about that. Fundraising is a whole different area, and I'd have to check with Caitlin about that. I don't know, Dave, do you have anything in the past on your side?
I'll let Steve go first, and then I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah. So it really depends on the source of funds. So for example, if you get a grant, the grants office will set up a separate account for you. And if there's fundraising through the development office, then typically the development office will set up a fund. So you would basically end up probably managing a couple of separate funds for those purchases.
So, and I would suggest if you did your own fundraising, that you would just have to have your own team account. And you have, and if you get the legal fee price, they could help with sort of some of the structuring of that, I think. Because I don't think you would want to put, if you, Jacob, if you went out and raised your own money and you put it in the difference maker account, or if you sold products and you put it in that, then I'd have to approve everything. It doesn't make, I think it would make more sense if you raised your own money, just have your own account and then you just spend it how your team sees fit. Unless you really need someone to help you do that, then that'd be a whole different conversation, I think. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so I have the fun guide, so I'm gonna share my screen.
Yep. Let me get off.
Thank you. And that way they can at least, because this is before yeah, the recording will be available. We'll definitely have this, we are recording this. That's the whole, to help if you want to review it. Just gotta find share my screen. There we go. So this is the fund guide. And this actually is uploaded in that directory, the one that has all those other files and the homework and stuff. The fund guide is now in there with everything else. And this is basically all the stuff that Alexia went over. Here's the thing. So as I mentioned earlier, your funds expire June 1st the following year for the Difference Maker Idea Challenge, and for December 31st if you won the College of Engineering Prototyping Challenge or were there. And Alexia went over these things, the tax exempt status. This is all available for you, this document. That's why we're just kind of, and this would be me instead of Holly at this point. And the office location, is Difference Maker, but with a pickup location is University Crossing. The project plan, I'll go over that with you. And basically, it's nice to get them August, these 4 months, but you can give me an updated project plan whenever you have one, outside of these times as well. And we don't have you sign because you've already clicked the box in the idea plan saying you reviewed this for the preliminaries, when you already kind of checked the box saying, yes, I had access to this. And here's some other places. I think that, I'm not sure if all these were on the list you had, Alexia.
No, I just had a few. I did update this too, so I can share. We did update this fund disbursement guide too, so I can send a copy to you, Dave, so you have, and Steve, I'll share with you as well. So you guys have updated versions of this.
Awesome.
So we did remove Holly's name and updated a couple of terms in that, so.
Yeah, and so this is kind of a general list. So this, I assume at this point, items may have been added and items may have been removed. So when Alexia sends us that
Yes.
when we get the new list, I'll add that to that directory for everybody. And we'll go for it, and that will be helpful. So you kind of, a lot of the stuff we've discussed, you'll have the video available, and you'll also have this fund guide available. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So this actually is a good question. I don't know if you addressed this because I was looking for the fund guide at part of this, but if your team doesn't spend all your funds, they are transferred back to the difference maker. Then you can find your account balance now in the Engage platform, which Alexia, I think, it showed us.
Yep.
We already have funds available. You have 500 available.
Yes.
And if it goes over the balance, what happens? Do we just not get it? We have to adjust the purchase?
Yes, I try and keep true to what is in there. So yeah, if it does go over, I'm gonna contact that team. And like I said, I'll include you on that as well and see if there's a different option we can work with.
Okay.
David, if I could jump in for a minute.
Yep.
If you could go back to that approved list, I'd just like to point something out to the students. There certainly, you may find things cheaper at other places if you're searching around on the web. However, if it's on the approved list, that means the university already has a relationship with them. They're going to accept the tax exempt status. It makes the amount of effort involved in making a
Mhm.
purchase a lot smaller. So rather than trying to find the cheapest screw or video screen that ships from China and it's going to take 12 weeks to get here, if you work with the approved vendors, it'll simplify your purchases. And think about this money as a start, right? You're not going to launch your venture. It's unlikely that most of you will launch a business based on just this funds. You're going to have to raise additional funds. So use these funds, purchase what you need. If the approved vendors have it, work with them. And then think about it, that you're going to have to raise more money. And that part of what Difference Maker will do is help connect you with other people who will help you to bring additional funds into the venture that will allow it to grow. But I just know I've been in situations in the past where people have ordered things from non-approved vendors. They have to go through the process, just stretches that timeline out. So if it's
It
possible to
does.
work with these, I think you'll find it much more expedient.
So
Yeah.
I have one question about that. I have almost every single component that I need to develop a very rough prototype. There's only one piece that I need custom manufactured. We've had some limited success with making this particular vendor able to manufacture this part for me. Is there anything that you guys can do to approve transactions under a specific dollar amount, or are there facilities at the school, or are there a list of vendors associated with other departments that may be able to assist in some of these niche small products? For example, in my case, it's a printed circuit board that I need manufactured, and I'm having a lot of trouble getting this one piece. I believe it was I forget if it was between 60 and $110, just to make the prototype.
So, I think we talked about the makerspace, right? The ECE.
I did not see a PCB mill in the ECE makerspace here on the fourth floor.
Did you ask, what they do to have boards made? Cause that
I
might.
can go have another look. I didn't see anybody in there when I
Well,
went in before the meeting, but I'm a member of that makerspace actually, so I buzzed
nice.
in to take a look around and I couldn't find anyone.
Let's investigate that further, but, so did you talk about Mouser? Was that one of the, or was that a different?
No. It's a PCB way with the company. They will take a custom order according to a design file and then make the part.
Gotcha.
The thing that I'm looking for, you can't buy,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
so my understanding, there is no PCB manufacturing here at the school. Also, PCB Way is a really good sponsor place. They will give
Oh,
sponsorships
really?
to people very easily. Yeah.
Make sure you
Okay.
tell them you're a student. And Steve, you had a comment?
Yeah, Dave, I was also going to suggest, I know Ray Hamilton, I think, is speaking from Invisaware. They've worked with Luis Pedrosa, who has a electronics manufacturing facility in the Lowell Chelmsford line. So there's a possibility that they could help out as well
Okay.
in
And
terms of
they'll be able to
identifying a
deal with like
source.
a very small volume orders. I'm asking for like 5 pieces.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. I'll ask them for a quote. Cool.
Hey Dave, I just have a quick question that you might be able to back me up. You might know a little bit more about. Regarding any of the U-based server racks or the Blade servers that my team was discussing, we actually bought a lot of the mini PCs and a lot of the server, a lot of the hardware parts that we weren't going to seek reimbursement for. But what we're finding a lot with a lot of these students is there's a big upfront cost with a lot of the software tokens that we have to buy, that we have to sort of reload with a card. Our plan forward now we end up buying like a bunch of these like $500 cards that we load on there. Can we use our funds? Can we use the card to just use the $5,000 associated with our account on our large language model to just charge that card up to $5,000? Like how
You mean the tokens? Is that what?
yeah,
you
the tokens?
I mean, it's just probably gonna be some logistics, but as long as you're not asking us to reimburse something, I think
No.
you should be able
not at
to.
all.
It's just not gonna be a straightforward transaction, that's all. It's
Fair.
gonna be some work. Probably have to get them, whoever it is, to become an approved vendor and then kind of go.
Okay.
So it should be, a lot of these things, I think they can be done as long as, and Alexia, correct me if I'm wrong, as long as we can get someone to become an approved vendor and they'll acknowledge the tax-free status. So those sort of the two criteria we have.
Yeah, and I mean, every case is different, you know, we've definitely seen a variety of things, but we have no problem reaching out and trying to get to that point, and as long as they're willing to work with us, and we just don't want to tie up, we don't want to put the bank card on anything where it's a recurring charge. We're not responsible for checking in and making sure that, you know, the term is ended and things like that, you know, we have over 250 something clubs to keep track of
Fair.
them, so, you know, so.
One of the things that I've seen is we had a team had a monthly recurring fee. And essentially what they did is every month they sent us a purchase order. And you know, I had to approve the purchase order every month, which is fine. There's no-
Right, and then we just go in and make that payment. Yes,
That was not, you know, it has to be something to that effect, and they have to become approved and they have the
Right.
tax-free status. And if they think if
Yeah.
all those criteria exist, I think we're fine. I think one of the biggest challenges, Alexia, and correct me if I'm wrong, is getting the vendor to actually communicate with you to resolve, to get things done. Is that?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them don't, and some, you know, for the most part, it's good, just, that's why we say a little more time, because if we have to reach out and they're not instantly getting back to us, it's gonna take a little bit of time, so I have no problem reaching out to ones. I would just say, and I mean, you let me know, Dave, but I think having the students submit the request, we can look into it, you and I can discuss, we can discuss with Caitlin, we can see what's what, and then we can go from there. If we have to reject it or, you know, go back and say like, this is a better choice, you know, then we can do that, so,
And one of the things that I've done with the more technical projects
yeah,
is I've actually suggested alternative things to do, just because
Right.
of the technical background.
yeah,
You know, and I'd say, well, why don't you use this instead of this? Like I have one student, they want to get some solenoids, which is a mechanical device that'll, you give it an electric signal and it'll do something.
yeah,
It'll do something mechanically. And this student wanted to buy some that he's gonna control with his phone, and I'm like, no, you wanna do this, and I suggested getting an Arduino, getting the parts separately, significantly reducing the cost, giving them
Yeah.
a better option for a prototype than what they had done, and they were very happy with that resolution. So if I typically, we're not gonna necessarily say no, but we might say no, but this.
right, have you
No.
tried this, or, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you know, our goal is to help you become successful. And, you know, and like very rarely do I just say no for the, like, no, that's just not helpful. It would be, we would suggest something alternative that would put you in a positive direction.
I have a quick question. How do we request a vendor again to get approved? Because a lot of the supplies that I'm gonna be getting are like sewing related, fabric and zippers and things like that, and they're definitely not like none of the supplies and materials that I need are gonna be available at these lists. I mean, some stuff I could technically get off Amazon, but the cost increase is like 90% more.
really, yeah, okay. So I would say same thing, like if you're gonna do a multiple link submission, and you wanna put everything in, I can look at it. You can send an email if you wanna give us a heads up to say like, here's where I'm looking to purchase from. And I can tell you if we've used them before, or, you know, we can kind of go that route too, so.
And I think essentially it's just gonna take, it might take a little longer than 2 weeks at that point,
Right,
at least for the initial approval. Once they're an approved vendor, then it's just, there's no, after that, it's just, you just order stuff and they're just an approved vendor at that point. So it's not
Mhm.
like every time you order from that vendor, they have to get approved each time. It's just the
Right.
actual first time.
Okay.
And-
Could
and
I
I
like
should- Go ahead, Sandy, I'm sorry.
could I send like an email now since I know what vendor? I mean, I've been ordering from them already with some of my own money and stuff. So would I be able to just send an email of like who they are now, just to kind of get that started?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? I'm trying to think if there's any other situations that I ran into that are kind of unique and unusual. The most one I think is just, kind of suggesting alternative items
Mhm.
that make more sense. Boot camp required. So everyone's definitely eligible to use the makerspace. I don't know if everyone's aware, there's actually a North and a South Campus makerspace. So they're both available to all students on the universities. I know the North Campus one is, I imagine the South Campus one should be as well.
Where is the South Campus Makerspace?
I think it's in, I'm not for sure, I can't, not the music, there's Dugan and there's Durgan. The one that's not the music hall.
And what kind of facilities do they have there?
I think they have a wood shop and sewing machines and maybe some 3D printers. But I only learned about this, actually, I learned it from John Connor, who runs the North Campus Makerspace, because he was telling us, he had, and this was like a year or so ago, he's like, oh, there's a South Campus Makerspace, and I think, because the North Campus has a wood shop too, and I think it's working now, but at the time, I don't think the North Campus wood shop was working because they didn't have proper ventilation or something like that. Actually, Jacob, are you in the makerspace?
No, but I'm like 4 floors above the makerspace, and I can
Okay,
run down
so
if
we're
we
in the
need
same
to.
building, but yeah, so that's my understanding is, and I think the wood shop in North Campus might be working, but yeah, they have sewing machines and I believe a 3D printer and a wood shop, and I don't know what else, other facilities they have. Excuse me. So, and so yeah, just the whole thing is, just remember, let's get, if you have, get someone approved if needed and the tax-free. And that's the big thing. I know I reiterated that, but I can't iterate it enough, and what is it? Is it
Reimbursements.
reimbursements? That's the
Refunds,
word.
yeah.
That's the word. I was gonna say refunds. I'm like, no, that's not the right word. Reimbursements. So, all right, well, if there's no questions, I will show you the budget project plan piece. So I'm gonna pull that, I'm gonna go into my shared drive. And Alexa, if you can just stick around for a minute, just to see if you have any, because I think you've seen this as well. Let's see, so I went files. So I added, you'll see in this additional bootcamp files, the fund guide is still there. This is the old fund guide. Lexi is going to give me a new one. I'm going to stick it in here. But in the project management directory, there is, actually, was it in? Did I forget that too? I did. So, yeah, I'm not my best day today for sharing stuff. I apologize. It's just, you know what, we'll just use the multiple link submission for now. I'm okay with that. We'll do that's in that directory, right, Alexia? And essentially, if they're getting multiple items, they'll just stick the multiple items. Can we pull that up again? Can you?
Sure. Let me get it open.
Because that's the biggest thing. I just want to make sure that they get everything that they need. And you can always ask me these questions going forward too. I mean, this isn't like the only time you have to think about these things, because it's going to come back several times to. So, oh, thank you, Jacob. Appreciate that.
So when you're in the creating the purchase request, So multiple link. And yeah, that'll just show the example, but you can put your notes in here and put the link for where you're purchasing and then your quantity and it'll subtotal for you.
Yeah, and then after we do the project plan piece at the end of the boot camp and the end of July, I'll go over the project plan piece.
Yep.
And then we'll use that. But this, just so you can get started, I don't wanna
Yeah.
hinder you with, you have enough stuff to think about. And the project plan will be sort of the last piece when you start putting your actual plan together for the next year.
Mhm. Mhm.
Any additional questions? I'm gonna stick, so Alexia, I think we're all set with you. If you want to stick around for 5 or 10 minutes in case they're quick, I'm gonna stick around for 5 or 10
Sure.
minutes. You stick around for a couple of minutes. Steve, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I just, I'll just share my words of advice. This is just the beginning. I know y'all have already done some work. This is the beginning. There's a lot of work ahead of you, but don't try to get it all done at once. Just chunk this up, focus on a part of your project, part of your business, move it forward and step forward. And I look forward to joining you all over the next few weeks. So take care.
Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna stop the recording now. Boot camp is concluded for today, but Alexia and I will stick around for questions for 5 or 10 minutes. And we'll go from there. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a quick